Hey guys, it is me, Tanya, founder of the TNG Designs Group Limited. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Now, in this video, we're going to be talking about how to create diversity in branding. Now, this is one of the biggest topics that I really love talking about. More so specifically, being a representation, a woman of color, a black female leader, however else you want to reference it, nicely please, thank you very much. I represent that. I represent a woman who is doing amazing things within her field, and I want others to actually experience and see me as a point of reference to know that they can also do the same. And I'm kind of giving you a little hint as to what this video is going to be about, but more specifically, folks, I represent that, but what do you represent? Have you ever even thought about that? And know that yes, it is actually super important to the growth of your business, to the growth of your brand, to the growth of the awareness as to what it is that you're doing and why it is that you are doing it. Now, before you get stuck into this video, to find out even more, I'm going to be covering two specific principles with regards to this. But for right here, right now, I'd love for you to go ahead and like, subscribe to this channel, because I'm seeing all the amazing supporters who are coming to view my video, and thank you so much for that. But I'd love you to go that one step extra and go ahead and hit that subscription button, as well as that little bell, so you get reminded as to when I go ahead and upload a new video. So, folks, make sure you stick around to the very, very end, because as always, I've got a super cool gift to share with you. And folks, let's just get straight into this. So, as I shared with you a minute ago, I want to make sure that you're understanding how to create diversity, specifically within branding, okay? Now, it's super important to be able to do this. And to be fair, it's going to be a nice, easy, straightforward video, because this is how direct I want to be with this. And this is how much it really, really needs to make sure it hits home. Diversity and understanding how to include it within your brand, in your branding in general, all those different elements, is super key, because it will help with the growth of your business, simply because your audience, your customers, your clients get to see themselves represented within your community, within the things that you are putting out there, within your content that you are sharing. You're representing them. And at the end of the day, folks, these two key particular things that I want to make sure that you are hitting home on will help them to see themselves in what it is that you're going to be delivering for them, or could potentially deliver for them. Okay. Now, the two key things that I want to make sure that you are always encompassing and always tapping into, especially when it comes to the relevancy of your brand, right? It's the idea of representation, and it's the idea of relevancy as well. And here's why those two things in particular go super well together. Okay. Now, you can have representation, no problem at all, but you have to have representation that is relevant to your audience. So meaning, if, for example, you have an audience that are of a specific age group, say we're going to use 50 plus, right? Imagine you have an audience that is a specific age group, that 50 plus. Then you're actually using information, or you're using a sense of imagery, or you're using a sense of content that has no correlation to what this audience is about. They could be about, living their life at 50. They could be all about making sure that, now is the time to get the freedom back that they always wanted. They could be all about, just going for it. They could be all about hitting targets and then some. But if you're actually throwing content at them, or if you're throwing information at them that's all about just being peaceful and relaxing and having somebody else looking out for you, and having somebody do so many things for you, and how retiring, they're not ready to retire. This group of people are full of energy. This group of people are full of go get them attitudes. That content that is relaying everything but a go get them kind of attitude is not going to resonate with this audience. So keep it relevant, and keep that representation even more relevant to the audience that you're actually targeting, to the audience that you're wanting to work with. Okay. Very easy to slip between in the cracks and just get lost in the ethos of what it is that you're doing. But yes, this is the bigger mission, and this is it. Folks, keep it simple. Keep it simple. Representation and relevancy, they go super hand in hand together. Help them to work with each other without helping them to fight against each other. Again, when it specifically comes to the idea of representation and why you should also include it within the diversity aspect of your branding, you've got to make sure that this idea of representation, and more specifically the idea of relevancy, is relevant once again to not only to your audience, but now to the cause of what it is that you're doing. of what it is that you're standing for, and the reason why you're doing what you're doing, even more specifically. Because again, you could throw content out there that maybe is actually now directed to your audience, but is it actually relevant to your brand? Is it relevant to the reason why, or your product or your service? Make it relevant. And I also say this specifically, where, for example, you may be sharing thank you gifts, you may be putting out content, or you may be delivering things to people just for the gift's sake or for delivery's sake, just to help you stay top of mind. All very well and good. However, does that gift create any kind of relevancy to what it is that you're doing? For example, you could be in the beauty industry and start handing out torches. What's the relevancy there? Aside from the fact that you can put your logo on the torch, what's the relevancy? Make it make sense. And I think that little phrase right there, whatever you're doing, whatever you're putting out there, gift-wise, relevancy-wise, make it make sense. Keep that phrase in mind. Make it make sense. Because if you don't get it, well, then how is your audience supposed to get the relationship there? And key things, have fun with this stuff as well, right? So as much as content, as I said, can be shared on your social media platforms, can be shared on your website, can be shared, through your printed devices or printed items, printed material, marketing materials, in fact. Content can also be by way of your gifts that you're also sharing with your clients, with your audience in general, any prospects. If you're the type of person who likes to do e-marketing or even delivering mail, going back to the way of delivering things, share something in the post that again is relevant to who it is that you are. Okay, share something like, for example, this was something that I actually received, and yeah, you may think it's also a bit of an old school thing, but do you know what, it's very relevant, right? And that's the idea of, do you know what, we understand that you're probably needing a time for break, right? So why not have a Kit Kat as well as this tea bag? So they literally sent a tea bag and they sent a little 2-finger Twix Kit Kat. So there you go. It's a simple thing, but think about outside of the box. What are people really wanting to do during this time? You want them to read a device, you want them to read something, read information about what it is that you do. So what do they need to do? Well, typically over here in the UK, we like to have a good cup of tea, right? And then maybe we want a little snack to go with that. And as we know, typically what brand is always related to the idea of having a break? Well, it is Kit Kat. Have a break, have a Kit Kat. And while you're at it, read the information about what it is that we do and why it is that we do it. But again, make it relevant to your brand. Don't just throw out the occasional sweetie just to make sure that, hey, you want a sweet? No, don't do that. Have fun with it. Make it relevant to you and your brand. And this kind of information as well, when I talk about representation and when I talk about relevancy as well, we're going to go back to representation in a minute, but the idea of relevancy covers so much in the sense where it's very easy, again, to just slip away from the relevancy of your brand and why it is that you do what you do. It's very easy to rock up at an event and start handing out a bunch of sweets, thinking that'll do the trick, that'll help to stop. And in some senses, to be fair, it does actually work. However, what if you elevated that experience even more and made it super relevant to your brand? What if you decided to take those sweets and not only just brand them, but equally start creating messages on those sweets? So every sweet creates a moment. Think about that. Now, going back to the idea of representation. Again, I shared with you the idea that, do you know what, people need to see what they can be, and people need to understand that, this person really does hit home and nail, and equally has worked with people just like me. That's the key part there. Aside from making it make sense, folks, can you see yourself in your brand? Can you see yourself in your community? Can you see yourself, or can others see themselves in your community? Because if they can't, well, then they're going to pull away. If they can't, well, then they're not going to be able to want to stick around because they don't think that you get them. The minute that you start showing or representing a space that is comfortable for them, that is comfortable for the idea of what they're about, and that is comfortable to help them to understand how to move forwards, that's where things start switching up. That's where people start feeling that they can aspire to be in the positions that you are in. That's where people can feel that they can aspire to keep pushing forwards because you've done it, because you've helped others to do it as well. Representation matters, especially when you're trying to make sure that the diversity of your brand is realized and recognized. Again, I'm going to tap back into this reason. People need to see what they can be. Because if they don't, well, then they pull away. They retract, in fact. And you want them to be attracted to what it is that you're doing and how it is that you can actually help them. So help them to see themselves within your community. Help them to see themselves in the sense of your clients that you've actually helped. Help them to realize it themselves that they could be that next person. Think about that one, folks. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you really enjoyed this particular video. And as I said, it's one that's dear to me. And it's something that helps me to realize even more so that I am more than what I see. At the specific point where I literally showed up on stage thinking that I'd done my job. And in actual fact, no, I was still doing it without realizing it. An audience member had come to me and said, Tan, you know what? Just seeing you up there helped me to realize that I need to be doing more myself. It was at that point, folks, that I realized that I am more than what I see. And the same goes for all of you guys, but you just need to understand and realize it. Tap into those key aspects, not only what I've shared here, but equally what I've shared in my other videos as well. Your vision, your values, and your purpose, the reason why you're doing what you're doing, will all help you to understand the representation aspect as well as the relevancy aspect. So there we go, folks. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. As I said before, equally make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel, and make sure you go ahead and click on that link that's in the description box below, because not only will you just get taken to a really cool guide that will literally equip you with all the key principles that will help you to elevate your brand to the next level, you're going to understand, even then some, how you can make sure that that representation aspect as well as that relevancy aspect is made clear to you and your brand and the reason why you do what you do. So go ahead, download it, make sure you get all the information from it, and please do not leave it in the inbox, because I know that's probably what you're going to do. However, do not do it with this one. Make sure that you even take advantage of on the additional offer that I've got included within that. And folks, oh my goodness, make sure you go ahead and like, subscribe to this channel, and I will see you on the other side.